Continuing on with our discussion of heating curves, there are two really important formulas that we need to distinguish. So in the example that we are using water for a heating curve. So this is for water. So imagine we have a block of ice. So this ice, we can simply say is H2O in the solid form. So what we need to do when we're talking about heating curves, right? We're putting in heat, we're measuring the temperature. So say that this block of ice is at negative 15 degrees Celsius. So if we want to heat this block of ice up to eventually get it to, I don't know, a liquid or a gas, right? There are two major different ways that we can heat this block of ice. And when I say heat, there are going to be two different formulas that we need to use. So if I want to apply heat, that is going to warm this ice up, right? This is going to get the block of ice to 0 degrees Celsius. So the temperature of the ice block is increasing. What is going on during this heating process? Well, all the little water molecules that make up this ice will start moving around and gain kinetic energy. So I'll write during this process, the H2O molecules gain kinetic energy. They move around. So temperature is a measure of the average kinetic energy of a molecule. So it makes sense that when we are applying heat to ice to get it to 0 degrees Celsius, the H2O molecules that make up that ice block are going to gain kinetic energy and move around. Now, why did I stop it at 0 degrees Celsius? Why don't we just completely go right through to 50 degrees Celsius, then 100 degrees Celsius? Well, something different is about to happen. So water has a freezing point of 0 degrees. So at 0 degrees, anything below that, it is going to be ice, and anything above that is going to be a liquid. Now we can call this its freezing point. Now to go from this H2O solid at negative 15 to 0 degrees, we didn't change its state of matter. This is still an ice block. It is a solid. So nothing happened on the level of changing the phase of this water block. It's just ice at a different temperature. Something different happens the second we go to heat this ice block up past its freezing point to change it to a liquid. So in order to change this to get water to be H2O liquid, something completely different happens. We are no longer moving around those H2O molecules to gain kinetic energy. This is going to undergo a phase change. This is where IMFs, intermolecular forces, that was covered in the last module, they're going to break. We are putting in heat energy to break IMFs. It requires energy to break intermolecular forces. So it makes sense that when we continue to apply heat to this block of solid ice, that we are going to break IMFs. So the thing that you need to understand here is when you get to this H2O liquid, after you have completely broken the IMFs for that solid, the water liquid, the H2O liquid, I should say, is still at 0 degrees Celsius. The temperature does not change here. So the temperature does not change. So just to summarize, we started with a block of ice at negative 15 degrees Celsius. When we first applied heat, the H2O molecules needed to gain kinetic energy to get enough kinetic energy to get it to 0 degrees Celsius, which is still a block of ice, which is still H2O solid. Once water gets to its freezing point, anything past that, now, because we're working with water, it's a zero. Not every molecule has a freezing point of zero. There are different freezing points of different molecules, but we are dealing with water. So when it gets to 0 degrees Celsius, now when we continue to apply heat, it will undergo a phase change. That is when IMFs will start to break. The temperature will not change. The ice will convert to liquid at 0 degrees Celsius. It will remain 0 degrees Celsius the entire time that this phase change is going on. So now that the water is completely a liquid at 0 degrees Celsius, if we want to continue to heat this liquid water up, we will again apply heat, apply more heat, and now we can say the same thing for this. The H2O molecules will gain more kinetic energy, and they will move around, right? The temperature will go up. So now we can heat water, we can raise its temperature until it gets to 100 degrees. 100 degrees Celsius. Now that the water is at 100 degrees Celsius, if we want to continue to apply heat, we're going to say the same thing with the phase change from a solid to a liquid, except now it's going to be a liquid to a gas. So let's continue to apply heat. This is now H2O liquid at 100 degrees Celsius. So we bring this down here. We have H2O liquid. It is at 100 degrees Celsius. We are going to apply more heat. And now this is going to change. And again, water has a boiling point. It will change from a liquid to a gas at 100 degrees Celsius. However, now we are not giving it kinetic energy for the H2O molecules to move around. We are now going to break the remaining IMFs. We're going to completely break all the IMFs now. We broke most of them when we changed it from a solid to a liquid, but now any IMFs remaining, we're going to completely break. So again, we are going to break IMFs. This is going to be a phase change. The temperature does not change during this process. It will remain at 100 degrees Celsius the entire time. And we will now have H2O gas, still at 100 degrees Celsius. Right, and at this point, we have now gone through the two phase changes. If we want to apply heat to this gas, all it will do is just gain more kinetic energy, right? And the molecules will continue to move around, but there is no other phase change. You will just heat it up and continue to gain temperature. So just a summary, there are two main different processes that you need to know. Negative 15 degrees Celsius for a block of H2O solid. If you apply heat, the molecules gain kinetic energy and move around until it gets to its freezing point where it now is ready to undergo a phase change. Then you continue to apply heat. The IMFs will start to break. The ice will remain at 0 degrees Celsius during this process, and it will then break IMFs to become H2O liquid, still at 0 degrees Celsius. If you want to continue to apply heat, the H2O molecules now as a liquid will gain kinetic energy to move around. The temperature will increase to get to H2O liquid at 100 degrees Celsius. Once it gets to 100 degrees Celsius, you will continue to apply heat. You will now break IMFs for another phase change. The temperature does not change during this process. And now you have gas at 100 degrees Celsius. So you need to get really comfortable with being able to go through this process and know the difference between heating it up and gaining kinetic energy and going through a phase change where IMFs will break. So I will continue to make a couple more videos to go into how we can apply this to a heating curve.